Now, no one ever wants to go in a bunker, especially the deep pot bunkers you find here on the Ailsa course at Trump Turnberry. And there's a lot of different situations you can find yourself in bunkers. It's important you have a good grasp of the rules of golf to make sure you don't add any penalty shots to your score. In this video, I'm joined by resident rules expert Fergus Bisset. We're going to run through the 7 essential bunker rules that everyone needs to know, and make sure you watch number 5, because that's the one that catches golfers out the most. Right, so Fergus, as beautiful as this hole is here at Trump Turnberry, unfortunately, as we can see, my ball has found this pot bunker. Now, I know there are a lot of situations where golfers generally are aware they're not allowed to touch the sand, but actually, you're about to tell me there are some situations where you are allowed to touch the sand. Can you briefly explain to us what they are, please?
Yep, this is rule 12.2b, and it covers the circumstances where you are allowed to touch the sand prior to making a stroke, and there are a few of them. First, and probably one of the more common ones, is that you can touch the sand to support yourself as you get down into this bunker. An older golfer might want to do that, or you might...
So yeah, you sort of supporting yourself as you step in, or something that I've done definitely is sort of have a little trip as I go in and put the club down to make sure I didn't fall over.
Yes.
So if I did that, I'd be okay.
That's okay.
That's what you're saying?
Not a problem.
Okay.
Now, another one might be that you've made a bit of a mark there.
Yeah.
You are allowed, if there was a rake here, you could smooth that bit and it wouldn't be impacting on your ball. Just
even
be caring
before my shot?
Before your shot, that would just be classed as caring for the course.
Okay.
Not a problem. Another thing with your club, if you went in with 2 clubs, you could lay a club down. If you weren't going to use that club, you could put the club down.
So if I was not sure which club I was going to use based on maybe the height of the lip,
I
was sort of weighing it up. I could take, if I take your club, so I could take 2 in. Decide I wanted this one. I could lay this sort of
lay that down
out of the way.
Not a problem.
Just over there.
That's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. Another incident might be that there would be a stone in the bunker, perhaps. That's a loose impediment that you can remove, and as long as you don't move your ball in so doing, you can touch the sand as you do that.
Of course.
You can dig your feet in to make a stance.
Yes, so let's have a go at that. So, sort of to what extent am I allowed to dig my feet in?
You're allowed to do it about that much. You're not allowed to build a stance.
That much?
Yeah, you're not allowed to shift sand in such a way that you've really built a stance. You're allowed to dig your feet in to gain some stability.
So, just about there?
That's absolutely fine. Another incident where you might need to touch the sand would be if you have a fine lie here, but if you are unplayable in the face there, you might want to take a drop. In any circumstances that you were taking a drop, when you were measuring to take that drop, you would inevitably touch the sand. So all those things, absolutely fine to touch the sand, as long as none of those things affected the condition of your stroke. If you improved the situation around the ball by touching the sand, you'd be in breach of Rule 8.1a, and that would be a general penalty for improving the condition of your stroke.
Very interesting information there, Fergus. Well, we've talked a lot about what we can do in terms of touching the sand. I've built a stance, so I think I better have a go at this shot.
Yeah.
See if I can get it out of this pot bunker.
Oh, very nice.
Well, I'm pretty happy with that one. 6 feet
there
or
you
so.
go.
So there you have it. There are some situations in bunkers where you're able to touch the sand in different scenarios. Give that a try next time you're in the bunker. Right, Fergus, I'm in the bunker again. I think most golfers of pretty much all abilities know that when you're in the bunker, you're not allowed to ground the club on the sand behind your ball when you're taking a stroke.
Yep.
But is there any other instances where you're not allowed to touch the sand in terms of preparing for your stroke and then making your stroke? What are the rules in this particular situation?
Well, this is 12.2b again, dealing with bunkers. One of the things that you're absolutely not allowed to do is test the condition of the sand. So you're not allowed to use your club, your hand, any other item to sort of really dig down and sort of get a
So just sort of like pushing into it like that.
Just going, what sort of condition is this part of sand? And absolutely not allowed to do that.
But I would be allowed to lean like this.
You are allowed to lean.
And sort of inadvertently be testing the sand.
Well, you wouldn't be. You would just be leaning. You wouldn't be testing the sand.
Fine, so no touching of the sand.
No touch. You're not allowed to touch the sand anywhere just in front of or behind your ball, as you mentioned, no grounding the club.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to take a practice swing in the sand. So that's one of the key ones.
Well, that's interesting there. So obviously I can't take a practice swing in this bunker, but what if time permitted me to go to another bunker and have a practice swing in there to see what the sand was like?
You're quite right about time permitting. If time permits you, there is nothing to prevent you from doing that. But one of the rules is that you mustn't unduly delay play.
Hold up, play,
So as long as that's the case, you could go and have a practice swing in that one. I mean, I don't often see people do it.
I've never seen anyone do it, but it's interesting to know you have the option of doing it.
And the other thing that you can't do under 12.2b is touch the sand on the takeaway of your actual stroke.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most common one, isn't it? People know they can't ground the club away.
Yeah.
But if there's a little sort of raised area of sand behind the ball, sometimes as you take it away, you might just disturb a few granules of sand.
And in that case, as with any of those other instances of touching the sand, in contravention of that rule, you would incur the general 2-shot penalty.
Right, 2-shot penalty, okay. Well, I better be extra careful with this shot then.
Be careful.
Make sure I don't touch the sand behind the ball, or as I make my backswing, see if I can knock it close.
Oh! Nipped it again.
Pretty good shot.
Very
no
good.
Penalties incurred, which is good.
No penalties. Well done.
I think next time I'm going to have a little practice swing in the other bunker.
Yeah, why not?
Right, Fergus, I'm in an awful spot of bother here. We're going for this par 5 in 2, and my ball has come to rest in what looks like a relatively grassy area, close to or in and around the edge of the bunker.
Okay.
What are the rules of golf that I really need to be wary of when tackling this shot in this situation?
Well, you need to work out whether you're in the bunker or not. That's the first thing. Rule 12.1 says that a ball is in the bunker if any part of the ball touches the sand within the edge of the bunker. Now, although you're in a grassy spot here, I would say that it's touching sand and they're within the edge of the bunker. So I think you're in the bunker there. So you've got to be careful because you're now playing in a situation where rules pertaining to a bunker apply rather than rules pertaining to a general area. For instance, you can't now ground your club behind that.
Exactly. And obviously there's some courses around the world where there's a bit of a grey area in terms of the definition of the edge of the bunker or what defines a bunker. You know, we see it at Whistling Straits, for example.
Okay.
There's some rules issues there, and courses that have wasteland areas.
Okay.
How do we know what is a bunker and what isn't a bunker?
Well, some courses will have wasteland areas and they will define them as such. We're here at Turnberry and the bunkers are definitely bunkers. So bunker rules apply. Whistling Straits, those waste areas, they were classed as, they would have been in the general area.
Okay.
Whereas here, you are going to have to try and tackle that shot with bearing in mind that it is in the bunker.
So assuming even though there's a lot of grass around it, I'm in the bunker, I'm not allowed to ground my club, it's a very difficult shot.
It's a very difficult shot.
Everyone watching this video is probably desperate to see me fail at taking it on, but we'll give it a go nonetheless. Hold on to your hats. Yep, went about as well as I expected.
And now you're definitely in the bunker. There's no question about
my next shot. So there you go. Be careful if you're on the edge of the bunker. If the ball's touching sand, you're in the bunker and you can't ground your club. Well, Fergus, not playing very well today. I'm in another tricky spot in the bunker.
Yeah.
The gung-ho style golfer may have a go at this, but actually there are some options available to me in terms of taking an unplayable relief from this position in a bunker. What can I do and what can't I do?
Well, what you can do, I mean, I think you're right. Trying to have a go at that would be pretty crazy. So I think taking an unplayable is probably the best strategy here. Now, you have the same 3 options that you would under Rule 19.2 if you were in the general area. Those 3 options are, 1, you can go back and hit from where you hit the last shot from under penalty of stroke and distance. So basically play from there and add a shot on. You can then take a 1-shot penalty by taking a drop on the line of where that original ball is and the hole, and you can go as far back as you want in the bunker.
In the bunker.
And drop in the bunker.
Yeah.
And you can drop laterally 2 club lengths from that spot in the bunker, which is why I've got the driver. So you could possibly do that. However, in the bunker, Rule 19.3b, you have an extra option. You could drop under penalty of 2 shots on a line with the hole and the original ball outside of the bunker. 2-shot penalty to do that though.
That's really interesting. Yeah, obviously a lot of golfers out there really struggle with bunkers, so it's nice to have the option to be able to completely drop it out of the bunker. But I think in this particular situation, if I was to have a go at it, you can often end up in a worse position than you were before. So having the ability to drop it away from this particular situation, whether it's 2 club legs or back on a line from the pin, which is sort of in this direction, is a really good option. So just talk us through the process. I'm going to go back on a line from the pin, so I'm going to mark my ball.
Okay.
And I go back as far as I want. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So
you would keep that point and the hole.
Keep going back.
Keep going back, and then you establish a point.
Yeah. So about here.
Okay, and then you can drop within 1 club length of that point, as long as it doesn't go close to the hole, which it won't. So you would be fine to drop from there.
It's going to plug, isn't it?
It would probably plug.
That's the other sort of negative, isn't it, of taking a drop in a bunker?
But that's on the line, within 1 club length of the reference point, and you could play that.
So I've had a 1-shot penalty, but now I've got a clear shot, hopefully, to get out of this tricky situation and maybe even salvage a bogey. So let's give it a go, even though I am slightly
backing up now.
Yeah, you are wise to do so. Showered Fergus in sand, but got the ball out. So don't forget, if you're in the bunker, you have lots of options in terms of taking an unplayable lie, which should help you get out of trouble. Right, Fergus, I've had a rotten bit of luck here. As you can see, my ball has embedded itself in the revetted face of this pot bunker, a very deep pot bunker. Now, I obviously don't want to play it, or I don't think I physically can play it.
Yeah.
Tell me the rule is going to come to my rescue here and get me out of trouble.
Well, I think they are, Joel. I don't think you have had a terrible bit of luck here. 12.1 says that the ball is not in the bunker if it's in touching just soil or grass within the bunker edge. Now, you're not touching the sand there. You're embedded in the soil face of that bunker, so you're not technically in the bunker. What happens now is rule 16.3 comes into the equation, and that is an embedded ball. Your ball is clearly embedded there.
Yeah.
You're entitled to a free drop.
Because
drop. You're in the general area embedded. What you would normally do is you would mark a spot directly behind the embedded ball and be entitled to a 1 club length relief area from there in which to drop. Now, obviously you can't do that in this circumstance because you're either going to be back in the bunker or trying to drop it into a sheer face. So what you would do here is you find the nearest point in the general area that is no nearer the hole from where you create a reference point and then take your 1 club length drop. Now, I would estimate that would be on the edge.
I'll give you a T then, you do that for me.
Right, here we go. So no nearer the hole there, and then you would have
So I can pick this ball up now?
You can pick that up, you've got a reference point.
Yeah.
I'll give you this driver.
Yeah.
You mark a 1 club length.
Okay, let me get another T out.
Relief
so 1 club
area.
length from here.
Yeah, no closer to the hole.
So yeah, that's my relief area there.
Okay.
I'll hand you that back.
And now you can drop it within that area and hopefully it will.
Yeah, it's quite a steep bank here, isn't it? But I'll give it a go.
There you go. That's now in play, and you've been quite lucky, haven't you?
As an absolute result there, considering where I was on this hole, I've now got a pretty clear shot to this pin. So the rules can come to your advantage if you can make the most of it with a good shot to take advantage of that break. Let's see if I can chip this close. Ooh. Bit left, but it's left me with
certainly better than you would have done from that previous spot.
Absolutely, that was a whole world of pain down there. So there you go. If you are stuck in the face of a bunker, you get a free drop and you can get out of trouble, no problems. Well, Fergus, we know bunkers aren't perfect. Often things fall in them from trees or whatever it is. You often find various items, whether it's stones, twigs, leaves, rakes, all sorts of things in a bunker that can affect your stance and your swing. So what are your options in terms of the rules of golf that give you relief from loose impediments in bunkers? Okay, well, loose impediments, let's start with them. Under rule 15.1, you're allowed to remove loose impediments. Stick there, that'd be the first example. That stick, it looks to me like you would be able to move that loose impediment without causing the ball to move. Yes. You can do that. Would you like to have a go? I'll give it a go, yeah. There we go. Okay, that's fine. Get rid of that. And that ball can now be played. Now, one of the things, if you are allowed to reasonably touch the sand in moving a loose impediment. However, if it had been sort of right behind and you went a bit too far and you smoothed the sand behind the ball there, you would be in breach of 8.1. You would have improved the condition of your stroke, and that would be a general penalty. So you've got to be quite careful when you move a loose impediment. Just remind everyone, general penalty, two shots. Two shots, general penalty. Okay. Yeah. We're all right there, though. On this particular situation, you can see my ball is on a leaf. Right. Now, if you were to move that leaf, the ball is almost certainly going to move. If you did that, then you're going to incur a penalty, a one-shot penalty, and then you would have to replace the ball where it was. And in this instance, you would, I doubt that you would attempt to move that leaf because you'd be aware. There would be circumstances where perhaps you might not be aware it's going to move. Yeah. But if it does move,
you're going to obviously be honest about that, aren't you, Joel? If it
Of course.
You have to replace it where it was and a one-shot penalty.
Yeah, and obviously you have to be extra careful when moving loose impediments, but also there might be a situation where you don't think you could actually play it with that loose impediment there.
Right.
So you might be better off letting the ball move and taking a one-shot penalty.
Yes, that might be an option.
But yeah, generally speaking, I think it's clearly the ball's going to move, so I'll leave that as it is.
Yeah.
In that particular situation. So here, third one, we've got the ball coming to rest up against a rake. Now this is, I think, a very common scenario with bunkers that have steep slopes, and maybe the rake hasn't been put back in the perfect place, and the ball is sort of pitched up against the slope, against the rake. What happens if, for example, I move the rake and then the ball moves as a result of that because it's been resting up against it?
Okay, well that'd be a bit different to the loose impediment. This is a movable obstruction.
Okay.
Now, if you move that and the ball moves, there isn't going to be a penalty, unlike with a loose impediment.
Okay.
With the movable obstruction, if you move the rake and the ball moves, you replace the ball on the original spot, no penalty, and you play on from there.
Oh, okay, so I have to replace the ball. Obviously, it's not going to move here because it's flat. But if it was on a slope, I have to go and replace the ball where it was.
Yeah, you don't play it from where it ends up. You replace it to where it was originally.
That makes sense to stop people sort of nudging the rake in a certain direction as they pick it up into a favourable spot.
Definitely.
Right, so Fergus, I've hit my shot out of this bunker, and I think we get a lot of questions about what you can then do in a bunker after you've hit your shot.
Okay.
So, are there any rules in place here, or is it sort of a free-for-all?
Free-for-all. No restrictions after you've played out of the bunker. You can touch the sand, smooth the sand.
Have a little practice swing.
You can do that, yeah. If you duffed it, you might sort of have another little go, sort of, I should have done it like this. Obviously you're going to now touch the sand extensively because you're going to rake this area. After you've exited the bunker, even if you had played out backwards, and you were then going to be playing back over this bunker with a chance of going back in this bunker, you'd still be allowed to do all those things, smooth the sand, touch the sand.
Okay. What about if my ball had gone in another bunker?
That's fine.
That's fine.
No problem in this bunker. You wouldn't be able to go into that bunker and touch the sand, but in this bunker, you can do what you like.
I think with this particular rule, you've got to be careful of whether you think your ball is in a different bunker and actually it's a connecting bunker. If you remember Sergio Garcia at the Players' Championship.
Very careful. I mean, at Turnberry, there are some sizable bunkers here. You'd have to be sure that you were in a different bunker.
Exactly, because if you're in the same bunker, you'd be essentially touching the sand or grounding your club in the bunker.
Taking a practice
swing in the same bunker.
Exactly.
You're not allowed to do that. So that would be two-shot penalty.
So you're right, you have to be careful. That would be a two-shot general penalty.
Yes. So there you go. In most situations, it's a free-for-all. After you hit your ball out of the bunker, do what you want, test the sand, have a practice swing, whatever you like, and you don't get a penalty. So hopefully this video has covered all the rules that you need to know when you find yourself in a tricky situation in the bunker. You're not going to add any unnecessary penalty shots to your score, and they might just get you out of trouble next time you're in the sand. That's all from me and Fergus here at the beautiful Elsa course at Trump Turnberry. We'll see you next time.